Good evening. I'm Gregory Morgan, and welcome to Love Talk. Thank you for watching. I am the co-founder of Embrace Growth, along with my wife, Dr. Azita Sayan. And Embrace Growth is a company that is founded for the sole purpose of creating communities of wisdom and contribution that leave a legacy of loving relationships for future generations. So in the last 30 to 40 years, I'm going to say 40 to 50 years, there has been a shift in our culture in which the legacy left by families, more often than not, is not one of love, compassion, understanding, individualism. In other words, a healthy individualism is one in which you retain your individuality, and yet you're so strong in your individuality that you're able to participate within a group of other people, be able to contribute your individuality to the other group, rather than become dependent or codependent upon a partner, a family, a culture, a religion, a job, a clique of people. In other words, you're able to stand on your own and contribute 100% of yourself, knowing that you could not lose yourself. So we've had a number of discussions recently about what it is to be selfish, and the discussion centers around the idea of selfishness we often associate, and quite naturally so, with being self-centered or egotistical in a negative way. In other words, centering one's wants, needs, and desires simply upon what works best for me at the detriment, if you will, or at the cost of others. So we'll say that person is selfish. However, a person who is fully self-aware, fully self-possessed, fully self-realized, self-actualized, if you will, is a person who is selfish, meaning that they value their self, the true self. So for the purpose of this conversation, let us say that there would be a true self that we'll say with a capital S, the true self. Most of us, you and I, spend our lives being told who we are by the environment, by the people around us, either by our parents, by our teachers, by our spouses, by our friends. In other words, through the reflection of other people, through their opinions, through their feedback, often negative feedback, judgments, criticisms, we get an idea of who we are, but the who we are, who you think yourself to be, is often simply a composition of other people's outside influences. And to be true to that would be the most selfless thing that you could do. In other words, to be selfless would be to not have a self, to have no self. And so we have reversed the meaning of the words. You know, we talk about selfless giving. How could you give selflessly if you had no self in the first place? And how could you be selfish, self-centered, if you had no self? In other words, the self that comes from true reflection, the self that comes from original thought, the self that comes from creating something new and spontaneously out of what has been given to you by the world, by the environment, by your culture, by your conditioning. In other words, yes, there's enormous outside influence in the world, and it is your job, yours and mine, to take that in, to reflect upon it, to actually discard what parts of it are of no use to us, what parts of those things that do not serve your highest good, my highest good, the highest good of others, and to integrate, meaning from the word integrity, to integrate those parts that ring true to yourself. In other words, be your own judge, to have your own thoughts, to have your own opinions, although opinions are sort of the superficial part or the outside reflection part of true thought. And I won't go into distinguishing that much, but everybody has an opinion, and your opinions and my opinions are mostly automatic. They come without thinking, without reflection. They lie more in the realm or domain of automatic thought. And so one of the things that one would need to distinguish if you're going to talk about being true to yourself is distinguishing, actually looking at and examining and distinguishing what is my own thoughts, what are the thoughts of others, the thoughts, opinions, ideas, creativity, some of which is profound and some of which is very, very good, but what of all of those thoughts can I claim as my own? So it doesn't mean that you never listen to the thoughts of others. It doesn't mean that you don't study and learn the thoughts of very profound and wise thinkers throughout the ages who have dedicated lifetimes to coming up with a truth that they've then taught to the masses. So I'm not saying disregard all other people's thoughts and only think your own thoughts forever. I'm saying taking into consideration, does that resonate with me, my own truest self? Does that ring true to me? Can I own that? Can I live by that? Is that something that I want to take on as one of my own thoughts? Or is that just something that's in the air and it's the popular trend of the day, therefore, to not stick out in order to blend in order to be accepted, in order to be well thought of by others? I will go along with the thinking of the day, never even examining my own thoughts, and become one of those who fit in, if you will. So that kind of thinking, that kind of dangerous, if you want to pick a good word, a dangerous way of living your life is the most selfless way of living your life. In other words, there's no self there. You've never taken the time. When you point over here and say myself, what it is a compilation, if you will. It's a combination, a mashup, a salad of everybody else's thoughts, opinions, and thinking. Therefore, there's no real self here in that way of living. When I'm talking about being selfish, I'm talking about being self-reflecting, self-authorizing, making the move, taking the step, daring to stand on the edge of other people's opinions, stand on the edge of society or the accepted thought of the day, to stand on the edge of cultural opinion and actually examine what is and is not true for yourself, taking time to really spend with yourself alone in your own solitude. There's a big distinction that I've discovered in my own life between loneliness and solitude. And, I used to think, well, I should be lonely, but I didn't feel lonely. I was alone. I felt alone, and I noticed often that I would choose being alone over being with a big crowd of people or being around a lot of people. And later in life, I realized I really like being alone. Not that I don't like other people or something like that, but that I cherished my own company. I appreciated my own company, and that I liked who I was, and I liked having the silence and the moment to spend being with my own thoughts, feelings, emotions, and learning who I was, and then bringing that to the world, bringing that to the party, bringing that to the family or the culture or the world. And so I spent a number of years spending quite a bit of time alone with myself and reflecting. Now, I don't suggest that you do what I did. I'm not putting myself out as an example of how to live your life. I'm saying that much of the thinking that you may hear on Love Talk or in Embrace Growth, or any of the seminars or workshops that we do, comes from having really actually thought about it. Is all of the material completely original? Of course not. There's bits of wisdom that we've gathered throughout the ages from psychology, from ontology, from neurolinguistics, from hypnosis, from meditation, from spirituality. So there's a number of disciplines that have gone in together to create a body of distinctions that give one, meaning you and me, that give you, that give me, that give people more choices in their life. More choices, more possibilities, more power, a wider and deeper view of their own life. It's such that you can address the issues in your life with more power, with more courage, with more wisdom, with more authority. It doesn't mean that if you take our courses or read our books or participate in our workshops or have private sessions with myself or my wife that you will never have any problems in your life. No. It means that you will be able to deal with the circumstances in your life, whatever they may be, with more power, more authority, more independence, more possibilities. You'll be able to see the opportunities in life that have always been there. You will discover resources within yourself that you never even knew you had, that have been there all along, just waiting for you to discover them, as if you had some treasure that was hidden within you that was just waiting for you to find the key and open the box. So the work that we do is not to give you more stuff to take notes about and memorize and learn and add to your body of knowledge. You know, most of the people that are watching this show, or most of the people that have ever come to any of our seminars or workshops, are highly educated people. You've spent lifetimes and fortunes learning other people's thoughts. You've spent lifetimes and fortunes learning how to study and how to remember things and how to pass tests and how to take notes and how to present ideas that, for the most part, were your take on other people's thinking. And so we simply just don't do that. All of that hasn't made any difference. It may make a difference in how well you are able to earn an income. It may make a difference in how well you're able to run your business or live your life to a certain extent. However, most of that learning has not addressed who are you and what is your purpose in life. And what is it that gives you so much joy that you would do it forever, whether it made money or not, whether anybody cared or not, because that's what you're here to do. That is your passion. And sharing that with the world in such a way that it actually makes a difference in other people's lives. We're more concerned with the shift that takes place when a person comes to know themselves, and we trust that you are a fully empowered, powerful being. Otherwise, you wouldn't even care about the things we're talking about. You wouldn't be listening to what I'm saying right now, for one thing, if you weren't already a very wise and powerful being that is looking for more freedom, more answers, more possibilities. In other words, coming to realize who you truly are. So that's what we're about at Embrace Growth, and that's what our seminars and our workshops about. That's what Love Talk is about. That's what the show Donya Yesh is about. So that's what we spend our time doing. Why? Because that is the sole purpose for the existence of that company, Embrace Growth. I hope that you will go there to the embracegrowth.com website, find out a little bit more about the company. Look, you'll see that there are events taking place here in London, Dubai, Toronto, and sign up for one of those workshops if that's something that calls to you. For those of you who would like to know a little bit more before you engage in something so serious as a life-transforming 3-day workshop, there's books, CDs, and DVDs. We have a number of DVDs of our various workshops, both in English and in Farsi. And then there's some books and CDs as well. So please go and find out about that. I want to talk about how you see your life, how you perceive yourself in your life influences the level of honor, the level of integrity, and the level of love that you can experience in your life, and how you can use some of the technologies and techniques to improve that and to expand that. Okay, well, this caller did call back. I'm going to go ahead and do that before we take a break. Hello, this is Gregory. You're live on the air.
Thank you so much, Mr. Morgan. I have a question.
Yes.
I have a son who my husband passed away in, when politics in like 22 years ago, and my son is...
Sorry to hear that.
28 years. Oh, my husband passed away when he had a problem with the Iranian government, so he got killed. So I brought
I got that.
USA, and since he was and I raised him on my own. When he was 20, he was a very good student, but when he was 20, he made a bad choice to use drugs, and right now he's 28, and I really don't know what he's doing. And his girlfriend, who is 4 years with her, she wanted to visit me, meet me. Actually, I met her, but she wants to spend some more time with her mom, with me, and have lunch. And I feel like my son didn't tell them what he's doing correctly.
Are you saying that the girlfriend doesn't know that your son's using drugs?
I believe if she knows, she doesn't care. Problem is not only using drugs. I don't know what he's doing. And he has a house. He has a dog. I don't know. I don't know what to do when I go to lunch with them. You know what I mean?
Well, let me ask you this. There's a few things that you've said. You said your son has been, it sounds like your son's been using drugs for 8 years. Are you sure of that?
I'm positive.
Okay, and then the other thing you said is you don't know if his girlfriend knows or not, but she's been his girlfriend for 4 years. So my thinking is not much of a girlfriend if she doesn't know her boyfriend's getting stoned. Like, there's not much intimacy in that relationship is the first thing I thought, if she doesn't know that. So
I'm sure she knows, but I guess they don't believe, they don't care.
Okay. And then the other thing that you said was, I don't know what he's doing. Is it that is it that he makes a living and you don't know how he does it?
Exactly.
So there's a little suspicion there.
Exactly. And because I'm myself in 12 steps program, but since I don't know, I'm saying I don't know. I really don't know what he's doing, but I'm sure he's not doing it right.
So have you ever asked him, how did you get all this money?
I did, but he said he's betting on sport. He's a very good gambler, and I don't know. I really don't know. I should believe it, but it's not my business. My business right now is how should I face to this lunch? I mean, how should I do this date, and what should I tell them? Because I'm so emotional sometimes.
Yeah, I got it. So you mentioned that you're in a 12-step program, and one of the things that you're learning in the 12-step program is to be really authentic, aren't you?
Exactly.
Just telling the truth, And so, the question arises, when you're going to meet somebody, have you met the girl before?
Oh, yes, for lunch with my son. My son was very rude, actually, in front of her to me, and I didn't want to go anymore with them.
I got it.
But she's really she really wants to see me with her mom.
What do you suppose the purpose of that visit is? Why would she want to see you with her mom? What do you think that's about?
I believe my son went 2-3 weeks ago when he was here for dinner. He said he wants to go for engagement, and I really don't know what's the purpose. They think I'm stopping him for 4 years, not married her or whatever. I really don't know, but I know my son told me he's gonna go for engagement. So I really don't know. For a long time they.
Do you think they seek your permission?
What do you mean?
Do you think they are seeking your permission?
Maybe her mom, maybe.
Yeah, maybe they're being respectful to you, since you've been both a mother and a father to this boy, by including you in something that they're deciding to do.
Yes, so.
Well, I mean, that would be one way to look at it. I'm asking you because you know your son and your relationship with your son better than I do. However, and I know that in the Iranian culture, it's certainly proper if you're going to engage with somebody to let your parents know that this is what we intend to do.
Right.
I mean, at a certain age, it's like you're asking their permission, and then at a later age, it's like you don't need permission. You're just telling them this is what I'm doing.
Yeah, Mr. Morgan, they invited me on Christmas Day, but my son told them I had to go to work, but he didn't tell me. He told me later. And
he told you later what?
He knows I'm in 12 program. And then he wanted me to lie to his girlfriend. I had to go to work. I couldn't. I even didn't know. And wanted me to lie to his girlfriend and to say I had to go to emergency. I had to work. And I had an emergency call. But I said, you always told me before I was a compulsive liar, but I'm not anymore.
Good for you.
If you want me to lie for yourself, just go ahead and lie. I'm not. If she asks me, I'm going to say I have not heard about that invitation. So anyway, and he said, oh, okay, so you're not. She's not going to come to your house. So anyway, he didn't let that dinner happen.
Well, I just want to acknowledge you for not getting involved in somebody else's conspiracy. A lie between two people to deceive any other people is called a conspiracy, right? I want to acknowledge you for not endangering your own sobriety by getting involved in something that would be out of integrity for who you are striving to be. Yes?
Exactly.
You're striving to become I'm going to say that you already are, a person who lives by their word, who lives by their integrity. And for a person who has been addicted to something, that's the only thing that stands between you and that thing sometimes, is just because you said so, right? And if you lose the value of your word by saying something that's not true, then you would have a tendency to continue to devalue yourself and the value of your words.
Exactly. So, Mr. Morgan, they asked me what your son's doing. What should I answer? And it's just so hard for me.
Well, what's the truth? I don't know is the truth, isn't it?
I really don't know.
That's the facts. I mean, that's just the facts. If you had to prove what he's doing right now, you wouldn't be able to. So the fact is, you don't know what he's doing.
Exactly. Kind of no, but I'm not sure. You know, as you know,
yeah,
people are using drugs. It's just part of that is selling it.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Kind of.
Good way to get cheap drugs or free drugs is to sell them.
Me?
I said that's a good way to get cheap or free drugs is by selling them.
Exactly.
Yeah, everybody knows that.
But I don't know how he gets money for house or, you know.
Yeah, if he owns a house and a car and some things like that and has no visible means of support, you know, I'm not going to sit here and suppose what he does because that's not my place. Your question was, what should I say to them? And my answer is you should say the truth. I don't know. Because anything else is what we call in NLP or neuro-linguistic programming, we call that a mind read.
Exactly.
Right? You know, we're all sort of mind readers, but really we're just saying what we think is true half the time without verifying it. Now, if you said to your son, I think you're dealing drugs, are you? Am I right? And he said yes or no, then at least you would have an answer to that. And, you know, as an adult mother of a 28-year-old son, I'm wondering what's between you and asking him, how do you make a living?
I did.
Yeah, and he told you something you didn't believe. So what kept you from saying, I don't really believe that, you know?
Because when he was younger, I have seen he was doing it.
When he was younger, you saw that he was doing what?
Oh, selling it.
Yeah, okay, so that probably hasn't changed. He probably got better at it. And again, that's a mind read, right? You and I don't know. I don't know, you don't know. We're making up what we think is true, you know, based on something in the past that gives us reason to think that, but you don't really know. And the honest truth is, as an adult male, he does, I mean, a male or female, he's an adult and he has his own home and he doesn't live in any way dependent on you. He has a right to make money in any way he wants. And he has a right to tell you or not tell you. Isn't that true?
Exactly, but
you know, if you ask the guy down the street you know, 4 houses down from you, how do you make a living? And he says, I don't want to tell you, or I don't need to tell you, that would be perfectly valid. And so the same is true for your son. The only difference is there's the emotional connection and the fact that you've raised him and given him life and taken care of him and protected him and done whatever you could do to teach him a right way of living. You know, if you're in an AA program, you may have spent some time during his childhood being a little out of control or something. Did that happen?
No, actually I'm in Al-Anon. I'm not in AA.
You're in Al-Anon. Okay, got it. Okay, so you're not in AA. I got it. Were you ever in an addictive situation?
But yeah, I always was and I am. I'm just food.
Okay. He has an opportunity to, you know, take a look at his life and turn it around. If the girl is complicit in what he is doing, meaning she's fully aware of it and she's okay with it, then she is a participant in it. You know, the fact of the matter is, if the police ever came to his house, and she would go to jail just like he would, if he had something in there that wasn't supposed to be there. Right?
Exactly.
So those are just the facts. You know, whoever is living in that house and is considered to be in possession, and so the same would be true if he was living at your house, by the way.
Thank you so so much. I got my answer.
Okay, just tell the truth and keep staying true to yourself, okay? And, you know, if your son ever wants to, like, change his life and actually have a life that has honor and integrity, do something with his life other than what it appears that he is doing, have him give me a call, okay? All right. Thanks for calling. Hello, this is Gregory. You are live on the air.
Yes. Hi, Gregory. Thank you so much for taking my call.
You're welcome.
I have a question about my daughter, who is like 21,
Okay.
20 and a half. How do I guide her as far as a future mate?
Yes. What I heard was you have a 21-year-old daughter and you want to know how can you guide her in terms of choosing a future mate?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, is that your question?
Yes. Is that a wise advice to tell her that she should expand her horizon and like go out and meet people more often?
I don't know. What's her? Is she not meeting people? Is there some issue with that?
She is a very homey girl.
Okay.
Yeah, she does have a lot of friends, but she's not that would love to explore. She lives in Manhattan, but she's not a type that would like to take seminars and go places. And you know, she's a very kind of staying homey person.
Okay.
She does go out with her friends, and for birthday parties and
Things like that. Yeah.
go to some shows and some social gatherings. But rather than that, like she has a very hard time to step out of her comfort zone.
Is there any reason why she would lack self-confidence? Is she?
She does not have she does not lack self-confidence.
She doesn't. Okay, so she's a self-confident person that likes to stay at home and goes out occasionally. And has she expressed any interest in wanting to have a relationship?
I'm sorry?
Has she expressed any interest in wanting to have a relationship?
She does here and there meet people.
But has she expressed any interest in wanting to have a relationship?
She does.
She said, I would like to have a relationship.
She actually is in a kind of a relationship.
Okay.
But it's like kind of she's very comfortable with it, and she says, "Oh, why bother to meet other people?" And I think that it's like way too early to be committed to one person at this age. I think she should.
I do too.
Meet other people, and.
You know, I've said this before on this show, but until you and I are about in our mid-20s, our brain and our central nervous system aren't even fully developed yet. She's not even a full adult, even though legally she's an adult, and she could certainly have children and all that kind of stuff and act as an adult and perform as an adult. You know, she's not even like fully grown yet. It's inappropriate to think about having a long-term committed relationship at that time in your life, as far as I'm concerned. I know that a lot of people, you know, get engaged or get married and so forth in their early 20s. I think that's too soon. I don't think that you know who you are yet. And so it's very easy to get in a codependent relationship at that age, simply because you haven't taken the time to fully develop yourself and develop your own thinking and your own social skills and become fully educated in not only in whatever field you're interested in, but also fully educated in your life, about how life works. You're just kind of guessing at things, and while there's strong hormonal or something like that drives to be related and to have relationships, none of them are the right reason to get married. So yeah, it is a good time for her to go out and to explore things, but if she doesn't want to, I mean, the only thing you could do is suggest it at that age. You can just suggest it or make it available for her. I mean, I don't know if you want to throw a party and have her come over and meet people or something, but other than that, at a certain age, if she's out of the house, she's living on her own, is she supporting herself?
She's still in school.
She's still in school, okay. So she's studying.
Yeah, she's studying. She's not. She's graduating next semester.
Okay. Well, you know what? Maybe she's just is she into her studies?
She's not bad, yes.
Well, I mean, like, I think that when somebody's in university, what there is to do is study. What there is to do is, like, get it done, you know? And yeah, there may be some time for social life or some time for relationships, but I think that romantic relationships when you're studying are very distracting.
Yeah.
You know, How many kids are like floundering in school because they're more interested in girls and boys and having a social life than they are in the actual reason that their parents are paying all that money for them to be there.
Yes, but what I'm saying is I'm not suggesting that she would do this right away because she doesn't have time
Got it.
to do that. In future, when she's graduated and she has a little more time,
Yeah.
And she could go out and explore things and understand who she is and learn relationships and whatnot.
Well, all things in good time. I think that right now you're telling me that you have a 21-year-old daughter that's more interested in staying at home and having a very simple, comfortable relationship and getting her studies done. And I'm thinking, like, that's not a problem. A lot of people would love to have your problem. You know?
The thing is that now, my point was that it is not the right time of life to be committed to just one relationship.
Well, I hope she's not committed. I mean, in other words, committed means I'm going to make this relationship work no matter what, okay? So that's what I hear when I hear somebody's committed, right?
She's probably thinking about it serious.
Yeah.
But, she's not at all in a hurry to make any, commitments, long-term commitments at all.
Okay. Do you have anything against the guy that she's going out with?
Not really.
No? Well, okay. So
too much,
if she's happy, let her be happy.
Right.
I mean, it's not a problem is what I'm trying to say. It just doesn't, we've been talking for 5 minutes. I don't hear a problem. I don't hear an issue or a problem. It's like, okay, I think that the concern is on your side, but, and I got that you're concerned that she may be too committed to a relationship right now, but I don't have any evidence for that she's committed to that relationship, like she wants to get married or something.
No, she doesn't.
Nah. She's being a 21-year-old. She has a nice, comfortable relationship, and she's doing her studies. You should be happy about that. I
am, but I was just also wondering if, in a year or two, how do I, guide her as far as how do I help her to step out of this comfort zone and learn a little more about life.
You don't know that she will be there in 2 years. Do you know what I mean? She may not. She may say, man, my studies are over, let's party. So it seems to me that you're worried about something that is not happening, which is a really kind of a weird trick of the mind. We're able to imagine things that are not true and then have emotions about these not true things.
I hear you.
Do you know what I mean? And we worry and doubt and say it's not true, it's not happening. How do you know how you know something's true is that it's happening right now in space and time, and it's measurable, and it really is happening. Like if you had a video camera hidden on the wall and were watching, you would see it happening. So this isn't happening.
No, it's not.
So be happy.
Okay.
Be happy about what is happening, and let her know that you trust her, that you believe in her, and that she's fully capable of making her own decisions about life. I believe in you, I trust you, are some of the most powerful things that you could ever say to somebody.
Correct.
I trust you, I believe in you, I've given you my best wisdom, my best knowledge, everything I know to give you as a woman. I'm available if you would like any advice, I'll give you my best advice, but don't go giving people advice that aren't asking for it. That's a big mistake that almost every mother makes, is giving adults advice that didn't ask for it. Like if there was a 21-year-old girl down the street, you wouldn't go down there and knock on her door and start giving her advice about how to live her life, right? Mm-hmm. But we think because we've raised our children that we have a right or even an obligation to give them advice for the rest of their life. And that's just not true. We don't have a right to, and we certainly don't have an obligation to. In fact, if anything, I feel that we have a duty to teach our children to be independent thinkers, to give them the best of our knowledge and our love and whatever else we got to give as adults, and then set them free and say, look, if you need any help, if you need any advice, I'll be here if you ask me, but I trust you, I believe in you, I know that you're a good person and that you're going to go out there, sometimes you'll make mistakes, you'll fall down, I'll be here if you need me. And let her go make her mistakes and fall down. If she falls down, maybe she won't at all. Maybe she'll go right through her studies and, move on. Just because she's in her comfort zone doesn't mean the guy she's hanging out with is. How old is he?
2 years older.
Yeah, so he's a 23-year-old guy. I can tell you, I've been a 23-year-old guy. The likelihood of him staying with her for the rest of his life is almost zero.
I see.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
23-year-old guys in college have relationships, and they could last a year or two. But the likelihood of them actually marrying a girl that they met in college when he was 23 and staying with her for the rest of his life and never having sex with any other woman for the whole life is very unlikely, especially today. It's always been unlikely.
Even if the guy is coming from a family that is very, like the mother and the father is very, like the parents are very committed to and a loving relationship, even if that's even in these kind of families,
it may mean that he has a higher chance or a better chance of having a higher degree of some kind of moral and ethical behavior, you see. It may be that he has learned and absorbed the loyalty of his parents and the committedness of his parents. All of that could be true. However, it doesn't mean that he's going to take those lessons that he's learned from his parents and apply it to this specific relationship at this age in his life. And if I'll tell you the truth, if I had a 23-year-old guy and I was coaching him, I would tell him, you're too young to get married or even think about it. It's not time to think about that yet. That men go through phases in their life, and the phases correspond to certain age groups. And one of the phases that men go through in around their 20s is, we call it the young knight. You know, the chivalrous knights of old?
Yes.
Right? Knight with a K. It's a young knight. Now, what does a young knight need to do? A young knight needs to needs to explore. He needs to fight battles. He needs to conquer. He needs to gain honor and recognition from his fellow knights. Yes, he needs to serve a king. In this case, it would mean a higher standard. Somebody who is a mentor or is guiding would be our modern day equivalent. You see, and then eventually become a king himself. So there's a whole period that men have to go through where they have to build their kingdom, and that's usually in their 20s and 30s. You know, depending on how smart and educated they are or how good they are at whatever it is they do, they will build up enough money to buy some real estate, afford to support a high-quality woman and their children, have enough money to create a future for that family. That's not something you even are sure you're going to be able to do when you're 23. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So it's not even time to think about that yet. What it's time to think about right now is how can I make a career for myself? How can I gather some power, some recognition, some money, in other words? How can I build something for myself that will last into the future, and then find a woman that will share that with me for the rest of my life?
Correct.
Right. So he's far from that right now, just by age alone, I can tell you that.
Right.
Not time to start looking for a queen to live in your castle and help you raise your kids and create a future. It's just not time for that. It's time for adventure. He needs to go explore the world and build something and find a mentor who will guide him through those steps so that he doesn't lose his way. That used to be the fathers, but fathers don't do that much anymore.
Yeah. As far as like Valentine's Day's gifts goes,
yeah,
or any other gift, man to woman, or the vice versa, or should they equally give each other gifts?
No, I don't think so.
Give to the woman, right?
Pardon me?
It's the man that usually gives the gift.
That's been the tradition. You know, we've done a number of shows where we talked about Valentine's Day. Men don't like Valentine's Day because men are romantic. They feel romantically towards the women they're with. You know, they don't like to be romantic on cue. Oh, it's Valentine's Day, therefore I have to get roses, chocolates, an expensive dinner, and think of something creative to do, and write a card that says something romantic. It's like, perform now. Men don't like that. Men like to be romantic whenever they're romantic, and that could be every night. But
right.
So I'm just saying that as far as I'm concerned, Valentine's Day is sort of anti-romantic, and we do it for you. We do it for women because we love you. We adore you. We want to make you happy. When you're happy, we're happy. However, it's one of those things like you're expected to perform on a certain day,
right?
Because it's that day, and for no other reason, you know. And so Yeah, it's usually the men making a gesture towards the women. I kind of have a rule of thumb that I guide people in my 12 stages, and Azita talks about in her Girl Talk guide to dating. And what works with men is it should be about a 5-to-1 ratio of women receiving and then giving back. Men should give about 5 times more. That's what I'm thinking. Okay? Now there's a bunch of calls coming in, so I'm going to go ahead and take some of them, okay?
I appreciate very much your help.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gregory.
Bye-bye. Our level of honor and integrity determines how we see the world and how we view the world, and therefore how much personal relationship, how intimate we can be with each other. Some of the people were asking, what's this show about? And so, you know, the show Love Talk is about what works and doesn't work in relationships. I don't base any of what I've said on any belief system, any system of religion or morality or any of that. Simply what I have observed from working with thousands of people that works and doesn't work. So some of it may seem radical to you. It may seem like, how could he say that? I've never heard anyone say that before. Some of it you may have heard before. So if you're looking for a system to my thinking or a system to what am I basing my advice on, my advice is based on, I have been working in psychology, in ontology, which is the practice and study of beingness, and in sociology, in neuro-linguistic programming, which is basically the repatterning or reprogramming of our thoughts, our thought patterns. Your thoughts, behaviors, and habits follow specific patterns. And those patterns are ingrained or conditioned into your subconscious mind through programming or conditioning from your environment since before you could even think. Before you could even think for yourself, before you could have a conscious, independent, logical thought, you had already been programmed to think and to behave in certain specific ways in order to get along with others, in order to survive, in order to belong to others. And that conditioning has not been the most powerful conditioning or programming that you possibly could have had. So I practice something called advanced neurological repatterning, where we literally repattern your thinking. I don't do it, you do it. I assist you in doing it. See the world in a whole new way, in a way that has the most possibilities, the most empowering, and most positive possible outcomes for your life. Okay? That's what my thinking and my teaching is based on. So let's go to this caller. Hello, this is Gregory. You're live on the air.
So my question is, I'm always looking for happiness for myself, and my life is going to the meetings and go to work and work 6 days and also go to gym. And I really don't know how, first of all, to spend money for myself because my parents didn't do that. I was the last child, and
I got it.
And I always thought I couldn't. I'm not able. Even now, I made some.
So what? I'm sorry to interrupt you, but do you have a question? I'm going to ask you. What is the question?
My question is, I don't know how to make myself happy and how to spend money for myself.
So it's more of a statement. I mean, basically, you're telling me I don't know how to spend money for myself, and I don't know how to be happy.
Exactly.
Got it. So is there a question in there?
There is a question because.
What's the question?
Well, first of all, nothing makes me happy.
Well, if you say so, then that's what's true.
Well,
if you say so, that's what's true. You see, I wrote a poem a long time ago, and it's very simple. It says, nothing makes me happy. I'm happy about nothing. Nothing makes me happy. Can you just be happy for no reason? You see, what you're looking for is what you're looking with. You say you're looking for happiness, and yet happiness has never been away from you. It's never been anywhere but in your own hand, in your own power. I know that that seems like a quantum leap, and so nobody expects you to go from being unhappy to being overjoyed in one leap, obviously. But starting with being, let's say, depressed or unhappy, could you begin to start getting a little frustrated about that? And then that frustration could maybe lead to anger or to actually, I'm not going to put up with this anymore, which would actually be a higher state of being for you. You see? I'd rather see you being upset about life than being depressed or sad about it, because being upset is a motivator. It'll actually cause you to get into action about something. So I'm frustrated. I won't put up with this anymore. Oh, okay, great. So what am I going to do about that? I'm going to do this, that, and the other. Oh, that didn't work. Okay. So, but at least you are in action. The definition of depression is thinking and feeling, thinking and feeling, thinking and feeling. And so you go in a loop in which there's no out. The bridge between the inner world, my thinking and feeling, right? If I cut you open, there's no thinking or feeling, right? There's nothing physical in there that I would find, right?
That's right.
Okay. So the bridge between your inner world, your thoughts and feelings, and your outer world, the physical life that you actually are living, that we can see and touch and taste and feel, are your actions. Your actions. Think, feel, act. Think, feel, act. Most people just think and feel all the time, and then they don't take any appropriate actions. And so the actions, because they don't want to make a mistake, or they don't want to be uncomfortable, or they think, oh, if I make myself uncomfortable or take a risk, I may not end up being happy. Because why? Because I'm already unhappy. So they don't take any actions, and they just stay stuck in their thoughts and feelings. And then they go tell somebody that says, oh, you're depressed, take some pills.
That's true.
Yeah, and then they take the pills, but the pills don't make them happy. The pills, the most they can do is cause a temporary absence of pain. So you just become a little more unaware of how unhappy you are, that's all. It doesn't make you happy, it just makes you kind of numb.
Exactly.
You know, so that you don't feel how unhappy you are. But the unhappiness comes from not participating in life itself. If you want to be happy, and this is not just for you, this is for everybody listening, go take some action to actually be of service to somebody else, whether they will ever know it or not, whether they will ever care or not, whether they will ever thank you or not. Go do something that will benefit someone else other than yourself, and I promise you, you will start to feel happy. You will begin to participate in life. You know, it can be very simple. Put a quarter in somebody's expired parking meter so they don't get a ticket. Pick up some trash where somebody's left it. Find somebody that needs a ride and give it to them. You know, do something it doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to be something that puts you out, that costs you. There's so many things that can be done for others, that serve others. You can acknowledge somebody verbally. You could write a letter to somebody that you really appreciate and say, you know, I just want to thank you for the difference that you've made in my life. You're always gracious and beautiful and kind, or whatever it is, and I want to thank you for that. That would elevate another human being, and in so doing, because of the interconnectivity of all humanity, because all of us are connected, then when you elevate another human being, you elevate yourself, and you will spontaneously begin to feel better.
I brought a homeless woman to my home, and I thought it helped her, it's going to help me. But she was a little bit different, and I could not stand her. I don't know.
Yeah. You're not qualified to do that.
For that.
You're not qualified to do that, okay? There are people who have made a lifetime of being destructive and disruptive to their own and to others' well-being, all right? And very often, they end up homeless.
Actually, not that way. She lost her job. She was waiting for another home. She was a caregiver.
I'm not saying that everybody that's homeless is destructive. Don't hear me wrongly. I'm just saying that you don't end up homeless because everything in your life is going great and you've had perfect integrity and you've been supportive of your community and the people around you and you've brought well-being to other people. Usually, if that's the case, you don't end up being homeless.
Okay, I got it.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
That's all I'm saying. I don't mean you're a bad person or anything like that. Maybe you just didn't pay attention and you ended up homeless. That could happen, right?
That's right.
Right, but it's very unusual that you're just going along making a huge contribution to your friends, your family, your community. You're a source of happiness and joy and contribution to people. You're participating in people's lives. Something bad happens, and all of a sudden you have no place to live. That's kind of unusual.
That's true.
If you're making a contribution to people, probably somebody's going to say, hey, you know, don't worry about it. Here's some money. Here's a house. Here's a job. Here's something. I'm just saying that for you to take a person into your house to try to help them in that way, unless you're very wealthy and can afford to support somebody and you don't have to go to work or something like that, you probably don't have the qualifications necessary to take someone into your care like that. Do you see what I'm saying?
Exactly.
You know, it's one thing that, you know, to take your son into your care, you know, and even that is dicey, right? Your 28-year-old son, if he said, hey, Mom, I'm homeless, you know, and you said, come live with me, that would be a big challenge already.
Exactly.
But an adult woman that's living on the street or whatever, it's probably not a good idea. Probably better to direct her towards an organization that is set up for that, and then contribute to the organization and make whatever other contributions you can. That would probably be just a little better way of doing it. That's all I'm saying, okay? But participating with others, listen, at your Al-Anon meeting, I'm sure that there's plenty of opportunities to go down there and set up the room and organize things and make things happen, aren't there?
Yes.
Yeah, there's volunteers.
I'm making coffee. But in my, what I'm talking about is when I'm home from work, when it's weekend, or that's why I feel like, because I work with children, and I'm so happy with that time. But when I'm with myself, and I'm even at the gym, I'm not happy inside, you know what I mean? I'm like, do a lot to talk to others, go to the other people's story, and forget about myself. Otherwise, I'm like, want to scream from my head.
I got it. Well, listen, I would recommend that, I mean, this is something that certainly I could help you with, but not in a few minutes conversation live on television, you know, in an anonymous situation. If you would like to, you know, have a private session, that's a different story. We can go much deeper into what it is that is at the source of that, get that resolved very quickly, and move on to creating a plan for your life that actually lights you up, turns you on, because there's something that you're here for. There's something that you personally are passionate about, that when you see it and feel it, when you hear it in a song, you see it in a movie, you hear it in a story, it moves you, it gives you chills, it brings tears to your eyes. Now, I don't know what that is, but I know that you do. There's something that moves you profoundly in your heart. If you're not having some of that every day, if you're not actively causing that experience for yourself and others and creating a structure for your life that actually promotes that, whatever that is, that quality, that thing, it could be music, it could be, for me, it's honor and integrity. When I see honor in a movie or hear it or in a poem or in a song where there's something where that people's souls are elevated, that moves me. It turns me on. I get all goosebumps, okay? So I decided I would just make my life be about that. And I would bring that to the table wherever I go. So I teach workshops, seminars, do books, CDs, TV shows, all kinds of stuff about that, because that's what my life's about. And if I didn't do that, I would be very unhappy with myself. Do you see?
Yes.
And I could have all the toys and playthings in the world or money or vacations you want, but I would not be happy and satisfied if I didn't bring to the world and to my life what it is that's important to me. And the opposite is true too. I could have nothing else. I could have no toys, no money, no vacations, none of that stuff, and still, if I was doing what my life is about, I would be happy. I'd be satisfied. I would get up in the morning wanting to do that some more. I work with people to help them find what that is in their life and then create a coaching program where they actually, I promise you that you will fulfill that in your life. That's what my whole program is about.
Exactly. Thank you.
You bet.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for calling. Talk to you next week. Bye-bye. All right. Well, that's it. That wraps up the show. Thank you for watching. My name's Gregory Morgan. You can find out all about us on embracegrowth.com, and please come to one of our workshops, find out about our books, CDs, and DVDs, and I'll see you back here next week on Love Talk.
یک مرد منحصر به فرد، مسلط، متمرکز، قابل اعتماد و رضایتمند باشید. کارگاه شرافت، عزت کلام و مهارت به رهبری دکتر آزیتا سایان. تورنتو 21 تا 23 سپتامبر، همبورگ 19 تا 21 اکتبر و لس آنجلس 2 تا 4 نوامبر. 310 460 2600. در کارگاه‌های آموزشی بانوان به رهبری دکتر آزیتا سایان با دستیابی به اهمیت و ارزش واقعی خود، قدرت زنانگی و آرامش خود را بازیابید. ایروان ارمنستان 7 تا 9 فوریه، لس آنجلس 22 تا 24 فوریه، تورنتو 15 تا 17 مارچ و همبورگ 26 تا 28 آپریل. 310 460 2600.
The Embrace Growth app is finally here. You start by signing in just as you would online, and from there, you'll see all of your account settings. Once in the app, you'll have access to events and all of Embrace Growth's original content. Registering for workshops and seminars is easier than ever, and tools for managing your profile and options are built right in. Schedule private sessions and connect with the global Embrace Growth community. Download it today on the App Store.
Welcome to the all-new EmbraceGrowth.com. You'll have access to all the content you love at the click of a button. Videos of seminars, events, and the ability to sign up for workshops. Direct access to digital downloads right from your mobile devices. Stay in the know and see our latest graduate events. Watch your favorites anytime, anywhere. Visit us today at EmbraceGrowth.com.
A haven for the weary soul, a source of inspiration and community, redesigned to bring you meaningful experiences and unforgettable events. We are a worldwide community of vibrant individuals, displayed in the people who are a part of it, from many nations, backgrounds, and beliefs. Through powerful outreach programs, the struggles of everyday life are confronted and conquered, transforming those who participate into the best versions of themselves. One-on-one sessions are available to keep you headed in the right direction, coupled with the best resources to remind you how to live, whether at home or elsewhere. Programs designed for men, providing the building blocks of maturity, commitment, integrity, and leadership, paving the way for productive and fulfilling manhood. Beyond an understanding of masculine leadership is its application in daily life and development into something truly unique. Exclusive training for women, encouraging growth and empowerment through an acceptance of their true identities, redefining interactions, and changing the viewpoint through which life is seen. Embracing the woman within and accessing facets of your personality hidden beneath the surface. Showing our youth the value of integrity and reliability by creating an indwelling desire to succeed with honor, basing the future on a solid foundation of ideals that will guide them through life, leading by example, and showing others how to clearly convey their thoughts in a compelling way, creating a culture of mature leaders who can help others achieve self-confidence and their goals. Real people and real lives are changed for the better. With every event, more are touched and come to an understanding of their place in this world and their community. Embrace Growth is run by a passionate team and led by the diligence and inspiration of Dr. Azita Sayan and Mr. Gregory Morgan, who consistently teach life lessons based on what works, rather than the passing fads of the times. Dr. Sayan's YouTube channel is the place to find quick, free, and timely answers to all of your relationship questions. If you like our content, click the like button on our videos and let us know what you think in the comment section below. Send us your questions through social media or by calling in during the show. Subscribe to get notifications about new videos and when we're streaming live. Join us during the week to watch our shows live. See the latest videos from Dr. Azita Sayan and your favorite clips of Doña Yeshk. Visit us at youtube.com/Dr. Azita Sayan.